activities, they continue to be fully involved in other community functions such as the previously mentioned Special Olympics Polar Bear Plunge fundraiser. And we had 31 jumpers and again raised right at $4,000 and still got more money coming in. We also put together the All-American Weekend fundraiser for Special Olympics and veterans, and I believe it was around $6,000 raised for that. We have a soapbox derby for the kids up on Plainer Hill in our transit parking lot, which is growing expeditiously every year, and it's a great event. Kids get a chance to get out there and actually build their own cars and race their own cars, and if they crash them, then they get the scars from the cars, which nobody ever gripes about. The annual Great Kids program, so I'm sure some of the folks here know some of the kids have been out this program, whether it's a whole week of taking them out to the lake and canoeing them, feeding them hamburgers, hot dogs, as much junk food as we can poke in them, and then send them home, which the parents greatly appreciate. They also did the March of Dimes Bike-a-thon with the Eureka Springs School System this year, which is becoming an annual event. Then issued several city revenue generating classes, such as the All-American Weekend Chili Cook-Off, again, which was not only a fundraiser, but it brought people into town. And the IED Bomb class, which had over 100 class participants and families from various law enforcement and fire EMS agencies from the surrounding states. It was a great event. It was standing room only, and anticipated to be next year. The police department is initiating, co-sponsored with the CAPC, the Chamber of Commerce, the fire EMS department, and the transit department, August 12th through the 14th, 2011 sports event called the Eureka Springs Multi-Sport Festival, which will have the moniker of Eureka. This will be the first time it's held in Eureka Springs. This 3-day event will include a triathlon, a multi-distance bicycle race, and a marathon. This event is expected to draw entrants and spectators and their families to Eureka Springs from all over the United States. And it's going to be held right here in front of the courthouse. So we will be taking volunteers to help work this thing. This event is just one more step towards a cooperative effort of our city departments working together to generate positive tourism revenue. I'm having a hard time talking. It is also known that the city, county, and state and national media sources have been invited to cover the event, so we'll get some free press out of it. Just a few police department stats for 2010. There were 148 traffic accidents, 287 people booked into the jail, 1,927 calls for service, 977 citations issued. Those are hard copies. 870 incidents investigated with reports written, and 592 written warnings issued. That's in 2010. The Eureka Springs Fire Department EMS is our other 24-hour, 7-day-a-week emergency department, which employs 13 personnel, chief/EMT, 8 paramedics/firefighters, and 5 EMT firefighters, 2 of which the EMTs are now in paramedic school and will graduate in the spring, so we'll have 2 more available. They will have approximately 20 volunteer firefighters throughout Western Carroll County, and they have 4 fire stations in the city and 2 stations in rural areas outside the city. 2010 fire EMS stats is 1,300 EMS calls and 100 fire calls. Chief Williams listed his 2011 fire EMS goals as in spring 2011, reestablished the Explorer program for use in our area from the age range from 14 to 20, which is a great program. It apparently was intact a couple of years ago, and due to some personnel changes, apparently it changed. They also will host the Midwest Emergency Medical Responder EMR conference at the end of the Ozarks on dates of February the 25th to 26th, 2011. EMRs from the 4-state area will be in attendance. They'll also be making this an annual event in Eureka Springs, so that's another revenue source that we'll try to embrace. The fire department EMS department is currently experiencing mechanical issues with several aging ambulances that have become a liability issue for the city. Their newest ambulance is 6 years old with approximately 100,000 miles on it. 2 other ambulances are 10 years old with over 100,000 miles on them. The next ambulance, referred to as the 4th Out Squad, is 15 years old with well over 100,000 miles, probably around 200,000. These ambulances are currently experiencing periodic breakdowns with or without patients on board. Chief Williams, man, let me get a drink of water here. Chief Williams has proposed a new ambulance configuration that utilizes modular boxes on different style chassis. The new boxes are metal as opposed to the old fiberglass ones and have an average life of approximately 20 years, which can be transferred to other chassis for extended service. He stated the complete units are approximately $180,000 each, which sounds like a large sum, but will cut cost on a refit whenever the chassis wears out of one. They just take the box off and put the box on another chassis. He is asking for 2 units this year and 1 possibly next year. In Parks and Recreation, the Parks Department has authority over all city parks, springs, gardens, and bodies of water related to parks. They currently employ 4 personnel, the director, administrative assistant, and 2 gardeners/workers. This amount of personnel may be subject to increase during the tourist season, where I believe they hire 3 other folks to work in the gardens. The Parks and Recreation Department regulates events in all of the city parks by way of authorizing and issuing certain usage permits. They use a city tax and grants for projects in the various areas under their authority. One such 2011 project is the placement of handicap access facilities for boaters in the Lake Leatherwood Marina. Another 2011 project is the purchase and installation of a new infield on the baseball field at the Lake Leatherwood Sports Complex. This will coincide with the purchase and installation of a new scoreboard for the soccer field in the same complex. Another proposed 2011 project is the Basin Springs project located at the Basin Springs Park downtown. It is commonly known as the unofficial reopening of the spring. In Public Works is our facilities construction and repair department for water, sewer, and streets. They employ 15 personnel, the director, administrative assistant, and 13 employees who are cross-trained to do various jobs. They also have 2 personnel at the wastewater treatment plant who have to be licensed by the state of Arkansas to operate the plant. One of the current employees will soon be testing for his Class 4 license, which is the highest level license issued by the state of Arkansas. So that'll give us 2 Class 4s in the city of Eureka Springs. The wastewater treatment plant has an ongoing project for the improvement of I&I, which is inflow and infiltration, for waste coming into the plant. Public Works is continuing to work on installation of water loops to increase water service on some of the older dead-end lines. They just completed one a couple of weeks ago. They're working on resurfacing some of the asphalted roads within the city limits as funding for materials will allow. Apparently asphalt is astronomically high. They expect a 2011 grant to facilitate the complete mapping of the water distribution system for the entire city. And CAPC, the CAPC and the Mayor's Arts Council has been working on a major campaign to foster a cooperative alliance with the Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art, which is located in our neighboring city of Bentonville, Arkansas. This alliance will benefit the entire northwest Arkansas area, which will in turn benefit our city not only by increased tourism, but by furtherance of our city's growing art culture. The Crystal Bridge Museum is slated to open on 11/11/11 for a specific purpose, and we will be offering transportation to and from the museum via shuttle provided by our transit department. On January the 25th, 2011, the CAPC directorship changed hands from Jim Williams to Joanne Grontman. This was an amiable agreement, as Williams was paid for the remainder of his contract, which is up in July 2011. Joanne is a positive asset to our city and the CAPC, and she will do an outstanding job. In the transit department is an integral part of our city's infrastructure as it allows citizens and tourists a safe economic mode of transportation, as well as keeping our traffic congestion to a minimum. Transit is a progressive department regulated by city ordinances, state and federal regulations. Transit has become an important part of our future alliance with Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art by coordinating a transit shuffle to and from the museum. This will allow a new inflow of tourism income not yet experienced by the city. This is a win-win situation for the city of Eureka Springs and the Crystal Bridges Museum. 2010 accomplishments for the transit